You can't always have it all when it comes to your business, but when you do put things together in the right place, you will have it all. Welcome back to the channel, fam. I'm so thrilled to have you folks here today. We're going to continue our conversation about ways to help you in your business. And I touched a little on this in the last video, and it has a lot to do with when do I hire help, right? Do I even need help? These are some questions that you're going to have. But there's really two things that are going to be present when you decide, when you finally step into that space, when you know that you're going to need to hire help. So let's talk about those. All right, so it's kind of science and art, if you will. Like, some of it is logical, some of it is just a feeling. And so the two things that I want to talk about first, you are feeling overwhelmed in your business. So this part is the more artsy side that I was talking about, because it's a feeling. You know it. You see yourself coming home later in the day. You feel yourself waking up earlier in the day. You're feeling a high level of tension in your chest. You're not spending time with your family. You are constantly working on the weekends. I mean, like, these are just some of the things that can make you feel, but it really is a feeling. It feels like you're almost always playing catch up. That does a lot of things to us. It really kind of gets into our head, like the self-sabotaging thoughts a lot of times start to creep in at that time. See, I told you you're not good enough. You were never supposed to be doing this. Get back to your job. What do you think you're doing? You have people that you're supporting, right? All these self-sabotage type of ideas creep into our head when we're feeling overwhelmed. And hello, we have enough crap going on in our head that we don't need to be inviting more in by not paying attention. That's the self-awareness again, but by not paying attention to what's really going on with us. So the first thing is the feeling that you get. If you are experiencing these feelings, that is a number one red flag. That's one of the ways for you to stop and say, okay, pause. What I'm feeling these things. I know I'm kind of in the middle of it. I need to really create the space to pause. Why am I feeling this way? Why do I have so many things on? And upon your examination, however you want to do, write it down, record a voice note, whatever you do to get all these things compiled together in one thought, you will start to see exactly the list, or the size of the list it will be, of things that you're handling. And you will have to, at that point, come to amends with the fact that you need help. Right? And not necessarily mental therapy help, which I still always advocate for. I'm just talking about literally getting hired help to help you in those things. So once you realize that you're there, now you really have to start breaking down your business and think about what are the things that you need help in, right? What can you do and what can you have someone else do? And I know for me, I talked about it. It was really hard for me to think, how do I download all of Shan into this person? So I was overthinking it before I really needed to do that. And that is one thing I want to tell you to stop. Don't do that. Don't overthink how you're going to do it. Just start the search for them. So I'm going to share with you some referral ways on how to find somebody a little later in the video. Now, before we do that, I want to share with you the second point on which you're going to need to know when to hire help. And that is more the science side. That is when efficiency decreases in your business. This is actually data driven. So you're looking at your numbers. Maybe you're seeing sales decrease. Maybe you're seeing labor costs go up because of, having to take on extra things because you didn't plan well. So you're having to hire outside consultants that maybe if you planned better, you wouldn't have needed that. All these different things. You're seeing a decrease in efficiency, right? Not just sales, and sales is one metric to measure whether or not you're doing well. But what I'm saying is that there are multiple things, data points that you can look at to really help you to see where the holes are that you can fill. So taking the arts and science of it, right? The feelings of I feel crappy, I feel overwhelmed, and also the data that's saying, hey, this is where we're kind of failing on the numbers in the business. You take those two and you marry it to now try and find some help. Let me jump in and share with you some places that I've looked for help and that I've seen others look for help and successfully be able to find people who work well for your business. So the first thing that you can do is take note of when you see people doing a great job. Like here's the thing, like one of the times I've hired people to be a landscaper for my yards, right? Number one, when I was looking for it, but the very first place I looked for was my neighbor. I would see the yard man come to his house every week or every other week, however often he was. And I'd see him get in there. He'd be there for a couple of hours and then he'd leave all cleaned up. Everything looks great. And so I went over and talked to him one day and I asked him, I was like, oh, your yard looks great. Do you have any openings, I'm looking for somebody. And the crappy thing, and this is where there's kind of a drawback to taking notice of people who do their job well, is that they're almost always booked and busy. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't take on any new accounts. Oh, that sucks. I wish I had known. But if you're talking to them, you might as well ask them for a referral. Do you know anyone else who does this kind of work that I can help? The only drawback to that, because there is a drawback, is sometimes they will give you names, but the two that I saw that were very, very great at their jobs, landscaping that I'm talking about specifically, they were like, oh, I do know names, but I don't know them personally and I haven't seen their work, and I don't want to give you a referral and then you end up getting burned, which I understand. They were looking out for me. And so it really is important that you take note of someone who's doing good, so you can go ask them, can you work for me? Right? That's number one. The second thing is you can ask for a referral from a friend. Ask your friends, hey, I'm looking for an administrative assistant. Do any of you know any? Do you have somebody that you've used in the past? How did you find them, right? And what's their name? Can I get their email? Is there a way that I can contact with them? And the thing is, you've got to ask for it, and then you've got to go out of your way to make time to contact these people, because they are out there. But this is the part where you are going to have to put some work in to find who they are. So asking a friend is a great way to find out, because your friends want to look out for you, right? And sorry, I guess I shouldn't say friend. Maybe I should say people you trust in business, okay? Because I have great friends who I love with all my heart, but they're not good at business, so I'm not going to go to them for business advice. That's like a Shan pro tip right there, all right? You can love your friends, but they don't have to be the people you go to for business pro tips. I mean, that's just, take it as you will, okay? Another place that I've been able to find really, really great referrals is within Facebook groups that I'm in. I'm in many different types of Facebook groups, but there is one that I'm in that has 30,000 women in it. It's a successful women entrepreneurs Facebook page. And you can just post things, right? Because there's so many in there, it's really, sometimes your post might go unnoticed, but you can get it there, right? That's how I found my dream assistant, right? That I have now. She lives in Canada. I just said, hey, I'm looking for a virtual assistant. This is the things I'm going to need. And I think 35 people got back to me. And then I gave them the application to go through, and I looked through the applications, and I waited a few weeks, and I only got back to the people who actually reached out to me in that time, in that interim, right? And that came down to around 12 people who got back to me, say, hey, Shan, I sent this in to you. I just wanted to follow up on that. There was only 12 out of 35. So already these are people, I'm trying to weed them out, right? And then of the 12 of the 6, I wanted them to know Kajabi, which is a program that I use. I want to make sure that they did that. I was able to dwindle it down to 6, and that's who I talked to on their interviews. And from that 6, I got it down to the 1. I actually had it down between 3, but as I talked to them more, Lori just freaking started shooting herself to the top. And so it just all started with me making a post in the Facebook group like, hey, any VAs out there, any virtual assistants out there? So asking in the realms of where you might find the type of help you need is a great place to start as well. Another good thing, especially if you're looking for your business, is LinkedIn. There's a lot of different places within that social platform that people are looking for jobs, and there are recruiters out there, and you can definitely look for people who are looking for professional work to help you on LinkedIn. It's a really great social media mixed platform, and also kind of job search platform as well. There's a lot of job connections that happen on LinkedIn. I haven't used it, but I see so many. I have so many people reach out to me. I've reached out to people on there, and it's definitely a great way for you to connect with potential employees of your own. So those are just some things that you're gonna have to think about as you grow your business, right? Is it overwhelming me? What is the data saying? Here's some different places that you can look. But in the end, you really need to make sure that you can afford this person, right? You don't wanna waste your time going through this whole thing and you can't even afford it, right? So maybe I should go back and put that at number 1 and say, this is what you should do first, right? And make sure that you can afford it, know your realm on how much you can pay for it. And then secondly, go through all those interviews and talk to the people who really feel right. That's a really important thing. It's kind of like I've talked about when finding your therapist. You don't just find someone who's closest to you or the same gender as you. You literally sit with them and you work with them and talk things out, and you will know if you're comfortable or not, right? Here's the thing. When I finally sat down and started doing work with the girl that I chose, she told me what to do. I was like, I didn't know that, because I started saying, okay, I'm going to do that. She's like, oh no, that's my job. You don't do that. You do this. And that's how I knew I landed on the right girl. Again, love you, Lori. she had to tell me, this is what I do, and I'll do this. This is what you hired me to do, so I'm going to do that. And that was part of my letting go process. So there is a little transition that you're going to have to go through when you are growing your business, right? That is kind of the pain of scaling, of getting bigger and growing bigger, is getting to the place where you are letting go. You're going to have to let go of those feelings, but those feelings are temporary and they will only be replaced by the good stuff when you start seeing higher efficiency in your business, less overwhelm in your life. When those two things start reversing, having the reverse effects that they used to have on you, you will start to see the value. And like I said today, that's one of the best business investments I've made for my business, is bringing someone in to do the things that just because I knew how to do it, I didn't want to have to do it. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. You just remember that. Always remember that. But I have better and bigger things to be doing if I really want to help the people that I want to help. So I can't be busying myself with that. And that's where you need to start making, like, compartmentalizing things within your head and your heart about really what your function is in your business and where you need to be serving it best. You can't always have it all when it comes to your business, but when you do put things together in the right place, you will have it all. And that's why thinking these things through are really important. So I hope these helped you today as you're starting your business ventures, or as you're just kind of calculating whether or not you should. Hit that like button. Make sure you support the cause, and really what the cause is you guys. The more you use this information, the more you get back to me, the more I can give to you so that you can start broadening your life and leveling up and finding that audacity that exists in you that maybe you didn't know was there before. So thank you for joining me today. And remember, I will see you on the other side. And until then, keep evolving. See ya. Bye.